Viewer discretion is advised.
Boom, perfect timing.
It didn't matter that I had dogs. It didn't matter that I had a job, that I had an apartment that I needed to pay rent. It didn't matter that I had firearms floating that could have got into anybody's hand while I'm incarcerated. None of these things mattered. Only thing that mattered was we finally got Roy Leeshun Williams in our custody, and we're not letting him go.
If you're just joining the investigation, Roy Leeshun Williams has been facing persistent harassment from the Richmond, Virginia Police Department. What's striking is that they don't even seem to care about hiding it. Whenever they stop Mr. Williams, they consistently follow the same procedure. The officer will often pull him over under false pretenses, conduct a license plate check, discover he's a registered gun owner, and from there, the situation always seems to escalate. What makes Roy Williams' case so unique is that he has managed to capture all the police harassment on camera. Most people don't realize how important it is to document these encounters. As we explore this case more deeply, it's hard not to wonder, is there a conspiracy against Roy Leeshun Williams? According to court documents, Sergeant Jonathan Nathanson from the City of Richmond Police Department pulled over Roy Williams' vehicle. The reason for the stop was that the car was allegedly speeding and swerving in and out of the lane. During the interaction, Sergeant Nathanson asked Mr. Williams if he had any firearms in the car. Mr. Williams stated that he had a concealed weapons permit. Despite being asked multiple times, Mr. Williams consistently said the firearm was concealed. There was also a large dog freely moving inside the vehicle. Sergeant Nathanson went back to his police car to write 2 summonses, which took about 16 to 18 minutes. He called for backup, and 2 other officers arrived. One of them recognized Mr. Williams from a previous, quote, assault issue, end quote, and mentioned that he was the person from a viral video where he displayed a concealed gun. Sergeant Nathanson returned to Mr. Williams' car and asked him to step out. He explained it was to avoid the dog and observe Mr. Williams' motor skills. After repeating the request, Mr. Williams complied. As soon as Mr. Williams got out, Sergeant Nathanson saw a handgun inside his open jacket. According to the sergeant, it was one of the largest revolvers he had ever seen. Immediately, Sergeant Nathanson handcuffed Mr. Williams, who explained that the gun belonged to him. The sergeant claimed he seized the firearm for safety purposes.
The last time that you posted a video like this, what year was it, 2016?
Yes.
Okay, so it's been 4 years since you posted a video. In those 4 years since, what has happened to you?
Well, what happened in 2017 was, once again, their average year check-in, because they got to check in on me every year. I'm traveling to go wash clothes, man, not bothering nobody. Just taking my clothes to the laundromat. And I noticed the car pulled behind me. It's an undercover, unmarked car, but you can tell that it's kind of police because, you know, the lights and stuff. It's
Right.
just, you're unmarked, but you still kind of marked.
Right.
But I ain't think none of it. I'm like, hey, even if you do pull me, I'm not worried, you know? Once again, I'm not doing anything, and I'll record if I have to. Man, I look at my phone, I'm on 1%. I was baffled. But body camera, right?
Right.
They got body camera, right? I'm good. I should be good. This should be fun. Hey, let's see what happens. To my surprise, no, of course, no body camera of this encounter whatsoever. 2017, by the way.
The general orders of the Richmond, Virginia Police Department regarding body-worn camera usage outline various situations in which officers are required to activate their body-worn cameras. These examples are not limited to the ones mentioned, but serve as guidelines. In the case of Roy Leeshun Williams, he falls within 6 out of the 8 listed examples in the general orders that specify when a police officer in Richmond, Virginia should activate their body-worn camera. However, as Mr. Williams himself stated, there was no body-worn camera footage ever recovered during this particular interaction with Richmond police.
Officer pulled me. He says, "Hey, you're swerving in and out of lanes." I had to come make sure everything's okay. I said, "Oh, yeah, everything okay. I'm good." My dog was in the car. My dog had just jumped from the goddamn on passenger seat over into my lap. I had to put her back over to the passenger seat. And he saw the dog. I had a big pit bull. And he like, "Yeah, let me run your license, make sure everything cool." And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, "Okay, cool." So we go back to the car. Then he come back. He said, "You got any weapons?" I said, "You must have ran my license plate, because clearly my license plate is going to show you that I got my concealed and all that good stuff. So yeah, you must have ran my license plate." He like, "Yeah, you got a weapon?" I'm like, "It's concealed. Here's my concealed weapons permit for you if you want to know." So he said, "Once again, I got to get the weapon. I got to get the weapon. I got to get the weapon." "No, you don't. If you're going to write me a ticket, go ahead, sir. I would like to go ahead on and finish my day off." So he goes back to the car. He comes back. He said, "All right, here's what it is. I got to get you to step out of your car, sign some tickets, and talk to you about your license, because the dog is in the way. You can't do it through the window because the dog keep coming up to the window trying to lick him or whatever." He used a good excuse and got me out the car. I get out the car and immediately I'm put in handcuffs. Like 1 second, boom. And he tells me, "You think I ain't see your videos?" He goes searching for my firearm and pulls out my gun in my inside pocket. I said, "You can't do that. That's illegal." He said, "No, it's not." He go back to the car. He runs my serial number and said, "Now you've been arrested for possession of a stolen firearm." I said, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, your gun came back stolen." I said, "Man, that's bullshit. I bought that gun off armslist.com. I met up with somebody personally who gun it was, or who gun he said it was, and bought it from him." I said, "And even if it is stolen, it was not no way for me to know that that gun was stolen when I purchased it. So therefore, why am I ready to go to jail?" He said, "Tell it to the judge." So that's what happened.
According to Arizona v. Hicks, the Plainview Doctrine requires the police to have probable cause indicating that an item is either evidence of a crime or a contraband in order to search and seize it without a warrant. In other words, Sergeant Jonathan Nathanson did not have sufficient grounds to run the serial number on Mr. Williams' gun, as there was no probable cause. Additionally, after taking possession of Mr. Williams' firearm, Sergeant Nathanson claimed that he smelled unburned marijuana. However, no marijuana was actually discovered during the search.
I was released on my own signature. I'm saying it wasn't nothing outrageous. So they released me on my signature. I went home and everything. I was good. I was waiting on trial. And when trial came, not trial, when the preliminary came, they threw it out, like toss. And this was probably about a month or two down the line from the original traffic stop. So they threw it out like dismissed, you know what I'm saying? And he walks out of the courtroom furious. I'm laughing because I knew it was going to get thrown out. I'm like, dude, like, how was I supposed to know the gun was stolen, even if it was stolen? But it didn't even get to that because I guess it was motion to suppress. They motioned to suppress a lot of things that shouldn't never happen during that stop. For instance, him illegally taking my gun off me, going to run the number, which you need a warrant for. But he went and re-indicted me on these charges. And it went immediately straight to circuit court when you re-indict somebody on a felony charge, because it already done left court, the lower court. So it automatically go to circuit court on a re-indictment of a felony.
After Sergeant Jonathan Nathanson re-indicted Mr. Williams, his bond was later revoked in the case. The reason for revoking the bond stemmed from a previous charge related to an incident where Mr. Williams recorded 2 Richmond, Virginia police officers barging into his brother's home, claiming they smelled marijuana. Interestingly, despite finding nothing during the search, Officer Stacy Rogers, one of the officers involved in the illegal search, charged Mr. Williams with obstruction.
So you won't believe this, man. I tagged you in 3 more videos of officers illegally searching my brother's house. Don't you know my bond was revoked because I stayed there and I recorded and made sure that they didn't do nothing illegal to my brother. And let me remind you, the only reason they wanted to search my brother's house was because they rolled past and they saw me sitting on the front porch, minding my business. They rolled past, saw Leeshun Williams, busted U-turn, came back, said, you know what? We smell marijuana. It's coming from that house. Let's search it. They didn't even call backup. It was 2 officers.
That's when the detective shows up, right?
That's when the detective showed up. I explained everything that happened to the detectives. The detective said, well, there's nothing for us here. And they went to leave. They didn't even want to give their partners backup because they knew it was some fishy bullshit going on.
Y'all cops? Richmond? Oh, how y'all doing today? I was recording everything from the jump. Y'all officer pulled up and told the lady she need to move the van because she can't park right there. And she was like, okay. And then he bogarted his way in the house talking about he smelled weed. And he gave me no time to get my firearm out there. No, I got my concealed weapons from me and all that in case I want to know. But he gave me no. He just bum rushed the apartment. And that's crazy.
They could do that. It's just like you smell weed.
You can smell weed from anywhere. Our neighbor can be smoking weed. You know what I'm saying? Our neighbors can be smoking weed. How you gonna bum rush somebody's specific house because you smell weed? They could have just finished smoking weed. Anybody could have just finished smoking weed.
It's hard because we can't. It's all like how the individual officers. We weren't here.
I know, but he was by himself. He didn't even wait for backup or nothing. He took upon himself to do everything alone. He didn't wait for backup. He didn't do nothing. He just did it so obviously that he was after me. You know. Right. Richmond Police Department basically have their little run-ins with me or whatever the case may be.
You don't look familiar to me.
Oh yeah, that's why I was asking who y'all is.
I said, well, will you look at that? Backup show up and then it's ready to leave. And your partners are in the house. You don't even know if somebody upstairs with a shotgun ready to come out the blue and blow your partner's head off for all you concerned. You didn't even go check on your partner.
So they said that they smelled marijuana in the house. That gave them the probable cause to go inside the house?
It shouldn't have, because my brother's house was surrounded by multiple apartments.
Right, but why did he let them in? Why did he let them in the first place?
No, what happened was when he came to the front of the house, first he said that car shouldn't be parked there. Who car is this? Tell who car is this to come get their car. So when she came outside and said, okay, I moved the car, he said, we smell marijuana, because she opened the door and was like, we ready to move the car. He said, we smell marijuana. He went to the door, pried his feet in the door, stopped us from closing the door, and bum rushed his way in the house. And by himself, his lady partner didn't come until probably about 5 minutes later to help him, which made me think this is another fishy situation, because when backup arrive, it's going to be more than one cop. It's going to at least be 3 to 4 cops that arrive after the first cop there. Right. And especially when you're searching somebody's house, not knowing who upstairs, who in the tub, who hiding in closet, who what. You don't know. You're searching somebody out. So it was fishy, and I was recording, and my mom begged that I not do it because she was scared that something was going to lead to more than what it had to be, because she watches all my videos. My mom is scared to death when she sees all these videos of her son getting into it with the police, so it irks her hot. So she begged me. She was like, please don't do this, please, son, please. And I'm like, Mom, like, let me record. Like, they can't do this to your son. They can't ransack his house. Like, come on, Mom, let me be able to give eyes on the situation if we go to court or whatever. Let me be able to have these things ready. She's begging me. She's like, I don't have on clothes, son. I'm not dressed well. Like, stop recording. And I'm like, okay. I respected my mom's wish. I walked off and I waited patiently for the officers to do their legal activity. And when the detectives pulled up, I explained to them everything was happening like you see in the video. And they came out their house with nothing.
What are you guys doing? You live on Facebook right now. What are you guys doing?
Fat Daddy, hey, don't do that around my grandson. Don't do that.
Do what?
Go back,
I'm
like
gonna
you
tell you this
say.
right now. You're impeding my investigation.
Go ahead, let me slip.
Hold on. Leave the door open. Leave the door open. I'm gonna record, Mom. Leave the door open.
Look,
I'm gonna record. They can't do this.
Put on some clothes. Don't do that.
All right.
He said you gonna get locked. Stop.
He know I'm not gonna get locked up. He know I'm not gonna get locked up.
They came out that house with absolutely anything. And you know what the officer turned his focus on? He turned his focus on to me because I was recording. He said, being that you don't listen or didn't listen when I told you to go ahead and walk down the street or leave this house that I was staying at, by the way, let me remind you. He wanted me to leave. He wanted me to just magically just walk off and go somewhere. He said, I'm going to need your ID and all that because guess what? He's ready to write me a charge for obstruction of justice. I got a charge for obstruction of justice for recording the situation. And to my surprise, being that I was already on bond for the firearm incident, my bond was revoked. They revoked my bond. They said I'm a threat to society to immediately turn myself in. Okay, I went to court. I'm thinking that it was gonna be some bullshit. The judge was gonna be like, hey, that's some bullshit. No, they held me in that courtroom for a month until my trial for the stolen firearm was due. And they didn't want to give me no bond. They said I was a threat to society. They didn't want to let me out, all because I caught that recording obstruction of justice charge. Misdemeanor, by the way. And I was shocked, man, because here I am sitting in jail, my first time ever I'm 27. I'm 26 years old at this point, but I'm turning 27. I had everything going for myself. Oh, man, my life started crumbling, man. I was shocked. I was shocked because I said, wow, finally, like you said, they got me. They caught me. Not caught me in the sense of caught me doing something wrong, but caught me in the sense of they finally got me behind these bars. Their mission for so long, the number one objective. The Commonwealth attorney argued to the judge that I was a threat to society, that I shouldn't be released from jail pending my trial because I caught that extra charge. And to my surprise, the judge honored it. I was shocked. My lawyer was shocked. Everybody was shocked because house arrest wasn't even an option. Like, you would have thought house arrest was an option. Like, hey, sit home, don't go nowhere. You're out here recording polices. Nah, you don't need to be doing that. Sit in the house and don't record. Like, not go sit behind bars and get treated like an animal. But okay, cool. I sat behind the bars until my court date. And I took a jury on my court date because I knew that anybody with a brain hearing this information this is bull. To my surprise, my judge was switched. I had a judge on the case that ordered the Commonwealth attorney to release what you call a pistol report. And that's basically like anything dealing with your name in the police database should be turned over. And we should be able to read through packets of what's being discussed about Roy Leeshun Williams. That's emails, that's anything. That's internal affairs, that's all that, everything. To my surprise, at my trial, my judge was switched to a judge that retired. A judge that retired was put on my case. I don't know why, but the judge came in. They put a motion to overturn the ruling of the previous judge about the pistol report. And I just knew that was going to be gunned down because what judge come in and overturn other judges' decision? You don't find too many judges that's going to do that. And my luck. My luck, the judge overturned the previous judge's decision. A key packet to my case because it would show that, hey, this isn't about him having a stolen firearm. This is deeper. He's already been labeled a threat to society, and he's never been in any type of trouble whatsoever, never charged with no serious felony crimes. He's already been labeled a threat to society. This goes to show you that this is about guns. This is about firearms. I'm a threat to society because I'm a black man with gun rights. Yo, when I say I'm not making this up, my previous judge was taken off the case. I was given a substitute judge. At my jury picking, the Commonwealth attorney voted off 4 black people for no reason. And my lawyer is in the transcript. My lawyer put it in the transcript as evidence. She said, I want to mark that the Commonwealth attorney voted off 4 African-American people for no reason whatsoever. They didn't answer none of her questions. You know, they go through process eliminations when it comes to picking jury. And not saying that had a key role in my outcome, which I probably kind of sort of feel like it did, but I had more white people than black on my jury. And they called the guy who gunned the stolen gun that was found on me, they called him to stand and they asked him to testify. Everything I'm saying is in the transcript now. If people think I'm lying, you can pull it up. It's facts, you know what I'm saying? They asked him to describe the gun that he was missing. This guy got on stand under oath under transcript and describe an orange gun. I don't know what firearm is orange, unless it's a toy. He described the orange gun that was missing. My lawyers looked at each other and said, orange? Because the gun I got caught with was a blue steel revolver with a wooden handle. Nothing orange about the gun. So everybody was shocked, and nobody took the ID on this guy. Nobody even knows if this is the guy who so-called reported the gun stolen years prior. The gun was reported stolen in, I want to say 2015, 14. Here we is in 2017. Who knows how many people had that gun or did anything with that gun. The only reason I bought the gun, I was a registered security guard, and I needed it for the job I was working because that's the caliber I qualified, which was 38 Special. And I had just got the job, and I needed the gun to work, so I immediately went on arms list to buy this firearm so I can go to work. Man, they reached a verdict, and when I say no evidence whatsoever in this courtroom saying that I was aware that that gun was stolen. No, nothing. The only thing they brought to court was that guy who gun it was explaining what happened the day the gun got stolen. When he called the police, he showed a little paper receipt that didn't even look like an official receipt. It looked like one of those receipt books you go in the store and you buy the receipt books and you fill it out like you got a little small business. One of them type of receipts. It didn't look like a gun receipt that you get from purchasing a gun. We all know how those receipts look. It's not no write-up receipt. That's the receipt he brought to court, and I'm pretty sure they got that in evidence too. And I'm shocked. I'm like, man, this is all bull. This is bull. And not only that, but they're talking about videos that went viral 3 and 4 years prior. I'm like, hold on, what is going on? Like, I'm like, okay, cool. Sometimes jury get things wrong. They're just normal people. You know, they're just regular people like us. We get called in from off the street to come give our opinion. And where I went wrong at was I took my public offender's advice, and she told me don't testify at my own trial. I said, why can't I testify at my own trial if I can break everything down so plain and simple to the point that anybody with ears going to be able to process what I'm saying and say, oh, yeah, that's bull. Let's go home. This is a waste of time. She told me not to testify at my own trial. And that's why I messed up at, because when that jury came back with that guilty plea, I automatically knew, because they thought that being that I was in that court silent, not saying nothing to defend myself, that I was automatically guilty. Because if I was a juror, I think that you're not saying nothing. All this court going on, everybody talking back and forth, you're sitting there quiet, you're not saying anything, and you're the person who we all is here for. That's the only thing I can process, that why the jury probably felt that I was guilty. Matter of fact, this is the part that don't make sense. I'm the #1 hated person in Richmond, Virginia. Police hate me. They always pull me over and want to take my gun. Would it make any sense for me to purposely walk around with a felony on my waist, knowing how many times I'm targeted by them? Like, no one's processing these things. Okay, cool. Man, I was convicted of receiving stolen goods, I guess because the firearm was over $250 or $300, that was considered a felony. I was charged with receiving stolen goods, felony, because of the amount of the good. And I was sentenced to a year in prison, 3 years probation, and a fine of $2,500. And what happened was my lawyer filed for a motion to set aside, meaning the jury just got it wrong, meaning they're just regular people like us. They don't know any better. But you, as the judge, you know the Constitution. You know how things go. You know that's bullshit. You got the power to say, hey, the jury got this one messed up. Let's overturn this decision. Let's do what the Constitution calls for. And let's not find this guy guilty because there's no evidence showing that he's guilty. Oh, that wasn't granted. Okay, I'm going to be sitting in here for a year, it looks like. Oh, hold on. No, I got one more chance. I got to appeal. And with that appeal comes an appeal bond. Guess what? No appeal bond. You know why? Roy Williams is a threat to society. Roy Williams cannot get an appeal bond. Roy Williams can't even get an appeal bond and go home on house arrest. You know why? Because Roy Williams is a threat to society. You know what they said? With my access to guns, I can't go home, being that I have so many access to firearms. Once again, highlighting what this is all about. They even tried to make it like I was a bad father for having so many guns. They're like, hey, you got kids, you shouldn't have these guns. That's how they tried to make it. That's how they tried to paint me out to be. My son at the time was 3 months old when I was placed in custody. 3 months. And his mom bore him to court on her shoulder, holding him. A brand new baby, just entered this world and like, look, I need help. Like, whatever y'all doing, like, I don't know what's going on, but I need help with this newborn baby. Like, I need him home. I work. I need help. No. Everything was, I got tired of hearing so many no's to the point, bro. When I say I became discouraged, it became to the point where when I went to court for certain things, I knew it was a no. And to my surprise, it was always a no. I never spoke. I never was given a chance to say nothing. I was only given no's as my lawyer sat there and represented me. No. It didn't matter that I had a newborn baby. It didn't matter that I had dogs. It didn't matter that I had a job, that I had an apartment that I needed to pay rent. It didn't matter that I had firearms floating that could have got into anybody's hand while I'm incarcerated. None of these things mattered. Only thing that mattered was we finally got Roy Leeshun Williams in our custody, and we're not letting him go. Even if it was to save the world, he's not going anywhere until this year is completed. And that's what I did, bro. I did a year, and I came home. Man, bro, coming home, you just got snatched off the street for a year. You don't have nothing to your name. They done stripped you of everything, your pride, your rights, your dignity, your dogs. I barely even know my son that just walked up to me and tugged. Man, he walked up on me and tugged on my pants, man. I barely could, like, I'm shocked because now my son 13 months. You know what I'm saying? I got took him when he was 3 months. So
He's like walking now.
He's walking.
Yeah,
I don't even recognize my own child, bro. Like,
it's taken so much from you.
Man, that was the part right there that got to me. I could have dealt with everything else. Man, they took me from my son, man.
Right.
Like, really? Man, I was fed up after that, man. When I saw my son walk up to me, then knowing that I missed those first steps, I was fed up, man. I said, you know what? I ain't stopping here, man. We gonna keep going, man. I don't care. They want to silence me so bad. But y'all owe him them days. You know what I mean? And not only him, I had another son. We not even mentioning that. But y'all didn't have the decency to let me home on an appeal bond for my newborn son to make sure he make sure he taken care of, you know what I'm saying? So I was like fed up, man. And just processing all this probation officers and all this, and even from being threatened to being sent back to jail for being homeless, bro. For not having nowhere to stay on some shit that they fucked up for me, that I had perfectly in line before I got locked up. So now that I done lost everything from being sent to jail for a year, you mean to tell me I come home to nothing? I don't have nowhere to go, nowhere to stay, and you telling me like, we're gonna send you back to jail if you don't give us the address of where you stand. And they tell you you can't go to the projects or the Section 8 or the government people houses that's being helped by the government. You can't go there. You can't go stay with your sister. You can't do it. Like, they even told me I couldn't leave the state of Virginia, which is cool. I can't leave the state of Virginia. I told them I'm ready to go down in Roanoke and Lynchburg somewhere and get away from my city to find job offerings or something better down there. And new restrictions. Hey, you can't leave Henrico, Chesterfield, Richmond. Hold on, then y'all just told me I couldn't leave Virginia. I said, okay, cool. I'm not gonna leave Virginia. I'm gonna go seek employment elsewhere in Virginia. Oh nah, my bad. You can't leave Richmond, Chesterfield, or Henrico.
Wow.
So you got me confined.
Roy Williams has experienced a series of challenges with the Richmond, Virginia Police Department. The viral videos he shares, which expose the Richmond, Virginia Police Department's misconduct, seem to have made him a target. It seems that the authorities are attempting to silence him by accusing him of any possible crime they can think of. I've provided a link to Roy Leeshun Williams' GoFundMe in the description below. If you have the means, I kindly ask you to consider donating to his GoFundMe campaign. The funds will be allocated towards covering expenses such as legal fees, costs associated with gathering documents, evidence, fees related to court proceedings, and expenses related to an upcoming lawsuit.
And then this is the part that gets me, bro. The same officer that checked my brother's apartment that I was sent to jail for and revoked whatever, saw me driving a car and went down to the jail and took out driving on the suspended charges against me. He didn't pull me over. He didn't hop behind me and see if I even had a license. He claimed he saw me driving and went down to the jail and typed up charges on me. And when I went to my PO, guess what? I got put in handcuffs. I got locked up. I got told that I'm being served a driving on a suspended warrant from an officer that claimed he saw me driving. Let me remind you, look at me. You know how many people look like me in my city? He said he saw Roy Leeshun Williams driving. Yo, I was arrested. And look, my probation saw it and said, never in my years of working in law enforcement have I ever heard of anything like this. Never have I ever heard of somebody being invisibly pulled over.